We're here now with Matt Culbertson. He is the COO of PIC, the Pig Improvement Company. Matt's here to talk more about their new technology, which literally could transform global pork health. Matt, first of all, thank you for joining us. And let's dive right into where we talk about the FDA approval and what this could mean when it comes to gene editing.
Yeah, I think it's quite a significant milestone. I grew up on a pig farm. Really, the only jobs I've ever had have been directly involved in the swine industry. And I'm excited about kind of living through and seeing the innovation and advancement that our industry's been able to capture and deliver on over time. And I believe that this future innovation, specifically in this case, gene editing, opens up the door for us to have a significant positive impact on animal health and well-being, the productivity and efficiency of our pork production systems, and meeting consumer demands and expectations with what they want from their food supply chain going forward.
Can you talk about how your approach to gene editing may differ from the traditional genetic modification? And I guess why it's so important right now?
Yeah, I think that both from a regulatory and a consumer acceptance perspective, it's important to understand some of those differences. The more historical, traditional aspect of GMOs or genetic modifications really involved inserting foreign DNA into an organism to deliver a new trait or attribute that was desired. Over the last decade, gene editing has allowed us to go in and, in the case of the PRRS-resistant pig or crop production or even human health, and make small, subtle, precise changes in the existing DNA of the organism that turns off specific attributes or knocks out some of those characteristics in the animals, and then ultimately allows those animals to be free of, in this case, being infected with disease. As we've looked at different regulatory markets across the globe, there's many of those today that utilize a determination approach. Colombia would be an example of where we've already received a positive determination. And what they determine is that this new technique, this new approach, fundamentally the animals aren't genetically modified. We didn't go through the GMO approval framework, and that these pigs are the same or consistent to today's pigs that producers are using in Colombia. And even when we explore geographies like the UK or the European Union that historically have been more resistant to utilizing GMO type of technologies, they're very actively discussing and creating frameworks that consider these newer gene editing technologies or precision breeding technologies differently than GMOs, and opening up the door for their utilization in crop production and animal production and the many exciting things that are being done in human health as well.
Well, when you look at reports, economic impact has got to be a huge factor. I mean, you're talking about reports. I see when it comes to studying that PRRS, Mark, is costing the industry over $1.2 billion, and that's annually. So when you have something with your gene editing, there's got to be a huge financial impact here. The economic impact has to be something that would get people's attention.
Yeah, and realistically, that 1.2 billion is really just kind of a calculation for part of the global impact. You know, I think that beyond the financial impact, which is obviously significant to the pork chain overall, there's a lot of shared benefits for this technology. It improves animal health and well-being, which has part of the impact on that economic consequence, but is also something that I think everyone can align around as a positive desire for food animal production. The efficiency and the sustainability aspect of it aligns neatly with many of the consumer expectations for the food supply in the future. And then when we look at differences in affordability and availability of high quality protein sources across the globe, I think that this technology not only delivers on that economic opportunity that you talked about, but a lot of these other benefits up and down the entire pork chain.
When do you plan on having commercialization of your product?
Yeah, so we believe that ultimately to commercialize this technology, it needs to be done in a responsible and transparent way across the globe. And since pork is a globally traded commodity, it's important that we not only get the approval in the US with our recent FDA announcement, but also approval or positive determinations in many other countries around the globe, and we've already received several of those, that will allow for free trade and choice across the different markets where pork is produced, traded, and consumed. Based on kind of the ongoing development of that, realistically, we think that commercialization is not likely to happen within the US or North America before 2026.
Are there any other specific steps that you guys are taking right now to prepare for that 2026 global rollout?
Yeah, I think the most significant steps are continuing to accomplish that that patchwork of global approvals and positive determinations that will allow free trade of pork. To ramp up some of the supply dynamics so that when we turn on commercialization, our producers that we work with, our customers that we work with in the different geographies have access to the technology. And then we're continuing to engage with the pork chain from producers to packers, processors, retail, food service, NGOs, and consumers to help make sure that we answer their questions about what the technology is, what the technology isn't, and ultimately what those benefits might be for all the participants up and down the chain.
That's Matt Culbertson. He is the COO of PIC, Pig Improvement Company. Matt, congratulations on the success so far, the technology that you're bringing to market. And of course, we'll continue to keep in contact with you as you guys push towards that 2026 global rollout.
Thank you.